What's the most disappointing thing for a man on Christmas morning? When he gets a sweater instead of a screamer or a moaner. Hey creeps, my name is Scarah and welcome to my tub of terror. Tonight I'll be reviewing 2019's Black Christmas, and I'll do so rather quickly because these bubbles won't last forever. On the last night of the fall semester at Hawthorne University, the sorority sisters of Mu Kappa Epsilon are planning one last Christmas shindig before they all go home for the holidays. However, their plans are foiled when a masked stalker starts picking them off one by one. The original Black Christmas was released in 1974 and it was directed by Bob Clark, who also directed A Christmas Story and Porky's. Black Christmas can be credited for setting up the slasher format that many horror movies were to follow. Well, Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out that same year, 1974, and also takes credit for that whole setup of going after victim until there's a final girl left. The special thing about Black Christmas, or one of the special things, was that it follows the killer's point of view whenever he kills his victims. Nice and bloody. 2019's Black Christmas was directed by Sophia Takai, and it was co-written by Sophia Takai and April Wolf. There is a seedling of a good idea in the script written by Takai and Wolf. Our final girl is Riley, played by Imogen Poots. That's right, her name is Imogen Poots. Anyway, Riley is dealing with the horrific effects of a sexual assault that happened at the hands of a former student who was a part of a kind of aggressive fraternity that's on campus as well. In the final days of the fall semester, tensions start to rise as a petition goes around accusing a professor of having a curriculum that's not diverse enough. At the same time, Riley and her sorority sisters play a well-deserved prank at the aggressive frat house, calling out toxic masculinity. Oh, and there's also the problem of the masked hooded killer going around campus. On to the review. 2 words, woke feminism. Now listen, I am all for a strong female lead. I love it, especially in horror movies. For example, 2011's You're Next featured Erin, a total badass. And this year we had Ready or Not, which featured Grace, a kick-ass bride who took care of business. But this movie took every single political talking point related to the current political climate regarding feminism, bro culture, toxic masculinity, Me Too, not all men, etc., and just with the subtlety of a sledgehammer, crammed it all in to one steaming pile of crap masquerading as a horror movie. Now, of course, these talking points are all very important. It's just that the message gets lost whenever they're all competing against each other. And that ridiculous ending, well, it just blows it all out of the water anyway. I mean, Jordan Peele was able to masterfully interject racial politics into his game changer of a horror movie, Get Out. I mean, it can be done. It just wasn't in this one. Not even a little. At all. Despite the fact that the script was poorly written, that the movie wasn't suspenseful or scary, and I don't really know how they can call it a horror movie, despite all of that, what really bothered me about this movie was that there was no blood. Not a drop. Look, the movie was set in the winter, right? There was snow covering the ground, and I don't know, call me crazy, but if I don't see one single spray even of arterial blood hitting that beautiful white blanket, then I don't know, I don't think you can call yourself a horror movie director. Observations from the theater. Throughout the entire viewing, there were no screams. I felt no tension, and honestly, there were no people. It was like me and 4 or 5 other folks. And at the end of the movie, when the lights go up, the mood was kind of like, ugh, blah. Christmas is canceled. The elves have gone on strike. As you can see, I'm all out of bubbles, so let me give you my final thoughts. This movie maybe could have been cool if they would have focused on 1 or 2 talking points, if the plot were written around a good script, if, I don't know, maybe they made it scary, and perhaps if they called it something different, because you shouldn't remake or reimagine the classics, you know? Just leave them alone. Leave them be. We would all appreciate that, I think. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll be releasing more Tub of Terrors regularly, and I'd like to not only review new releases, but also classic horror movies as well, and maybe some indie horror. So in the comments, why don't you write down what you want me to review next? And until then, my name is Scarah, and I'll see you in your screams.